Discover the truth about the Tower of Babel and its location. The Tower of Babel has always been a subject of much speculation and curiosity among people. Many people are unaware of what the Bible actually says about it. In this video, we will explore more about the Tower of Babel in light of the Bible, revealing interesting and enlightening facts. Welcome to Daily Biblical History. Today, we will explore an inspiring message to strengthen your faith and bring peace to your heart. Leave a like to support our channel and subscribe if you are not already subscribed, so you don't miss any of the motivational content we post here. The city of Babel, mentioned in the book of Genesis, was founded by Nimrod, a biblical character known for having been a great hunter before the Lord. In addition to Babel, Nimrod also founded other important cities in the region, such as Erech, Akkad, and Calneh. According to biblical accounts in chapter 11 of Genesis, Babel was possibly the first seat of Nimrod's government and marked the beginning of his kingdom. The city became known for the construction of the Tower of Babel, which symbolized the unity and disobedience of the people in relation to the divine order to spread across the earth after the flood. The construction of the Tower of Babel, in addition to representing disobedience to the divine order to spread throughout the earth, also reflected the boundless ambition of humanity at that time. By deciding to build the tower, the inhabitants of Babel were directly defying God's will and demonstrating their arrogance in trying to reach the heavens with their own hands. The choice to build such an imposing and lofty structure revealed not only a refusal to follow divine instructions, but also a desire to equal or even surpass the power and authority of the Creator. The Tower of Babel became a symbol not only of rebellion, but also of megalomania and lack of fear before the Lord. The Tower of Babel was a monumental structure that reflected the grandeur and ambition of the people of the time. Its construction was not limited to simply fortifying the city, but rather to defy the heavens themselves. Composed of countless floors and levels, the tower rose imposingly into the horizon, symbolizing the determination and boldness of the civilization of Babel. Each carefully shaped and laid block of clay represented a step towards divine challenge, an attempt to achieve the unattainable. The Tower of Babel was not just a physical structure, but a monument to human rebellion and arrogance, a testament to the pursuit of power and glory that exceeded the limits set by God. The Babel region, where the Tower of Babel was built, presented unique challenges for the construction of the tower. Unlike other regions that had access to stone and lime for construction, Babel predominantly used sun-dried or kiln-baked clay bricks. These bricks were made from a precise mixture of clay and water, molded to perfection and left to dry in the sun until they acquired the necessary strength. In addition, the foundations of buildings in the region were also made from crushed clay, while bitumen was used as mortar to bind the bricks together. The choice of these materials reflected not only the geographical limitations of the region, but also the ingenuity and skill of the builders of the Tower of Babel in working with the resources available. Mesopotamian temple towers, known as ziggurats, were impressive structures that played a crucial role in the religious and cultural life of the ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia. These towers were built in rectangular or square shapes and had multiple levels, each representing a stage of spiritual ascension towards the gods. Accessible by elaborate staircases and ramps, ziggurats served as sacred places of worship and communication with the deities. At the top of the tower was usually a shrine where the image of the deity was venerated. The architecture of Ziggurats reflected the belief in the connection between heaven and earth, with the purpose of establishing a bridge between humanity and the gods. These monumental structures were not only impressive for their height and grandeur, but also for the symbolic and spiritual complexity that they represented to the ancient Mesopotamian civilizations. There are several theories and speculations about the exact location of the Tower of Babel. One of the most widely held suggestions is that the Tower of Babel was actually the Temple of Nebo, located about 16 kilometers south of Babylon. This temple tower had 7 levels, and its name possibly derives from an expression meaning Tower of Energy. Another theory suggests that the Tower of Babel was located in the city of Babylon, known as Etemenanki, meaning the house of the foundation of heaven and earth. This structure was similar to a stepped pyramid and reached approximately 100 meters in height. The inhabitants of that region believed that the god they worshipped descended into the temple of the tower to communicate with them. Later, this tower was destroyed by Xerxes, and the site was left with only a huge crater. Other interpretations suggest that the Tower of Babel could have been located west of Baghdad, in Iraq. However, this hypothesis is not widely considered due to the changes that occurred in the region around 1400 BC. There are still Jewish traditions that say that God sent fire from heaven to consume the entire Tower of Babel, including its foundations, making it impossible to locate it precisely. Another belief claims that the tower may have been knocked down by the force of the winds and no trace of it remained. Thus, although there are several theories about where the Tower of Babel was located, its true whereabouts remain a mystery to this day. After the construction of the Tower of Babel, God decided to intervene in the ambitious project of mankind. Seeing the arrogance and disobedience manifested in the construction of the tower, the Lord decided to bring judgment upon the people of Babel. In an act of divine sovereignty, God confused their languages, causing them to no longer understand each other. What was once a community united in purpose now became a group of individuals unable to communicate effectively. This linguistic confusion was not just a practical matter, but rather a sign of divine judgment on unbridled ambition and rebellion against the Creator's plans. The resulting dispersion of languages marked the beginning of the linguistic and cultural diversity we know today, with different peoples scattered across the earth and speaking distinct languages. The Tower of Babel became not only a monument to human disobedience, but also a powerful reminder of God's sovereignty and justice. The confusion of languages following the construction of the Tower of Babel is an event that has sparked debate and diverse interpretations among scholars and theologians. Some argue that the confusion of languages was a global phenomenon, affecting all of humanity, concentrated in Babel. From this perspective, the resulting linguistic diversity would have spread throughout the world, giving rise to the varied languages and dialects that we know today. The inability to communicate with each other not only separated peoples geographically, but also divided them culturally and linguistically, creating barriers that persist to this day. Other scholars, however, defend the idea that the confusion of languages was a localized event, restricted to the region of Babel and the peoples present there. According to this interpretation, only the inhabitants of the city and its surroundings would have been affected by the sudden change in languages, while other communities around the world would have remained with their original languages. This more restricted view of the confusion of languages suggests that the episode in Babel was a specific intervention by God in that particular context, without immediate global repercussions. Regardless of the approach taken, The confusion of languages at the Tower of Babel remains a significant milestone in biblical history and in the understanding of humanity's linguistic and cultural diversity. The organization of the chapters in the book of Genesis, especially chapter 11, which tells the story of the Tower of Babel, reveals a carefully planned structure to convey profound messages about the relationship between God and humanity. The author not only describes the events that led to the construction of the tower and the confusion of languages, but also establishes symbolic connections with other biblical accounts. The sequence of events at Babel reflects the recurring pattern of human disobedience and divine intervention throughout the biblical narrative. Furthermore, the way in which the stories are presented suggests a greater purpose behind the linguistic diversity resulting from the confusion of languages. Close analysis of the text reveals nuances and hidden meanings that enrich the understanding of divine judgment and God's sovereignty over human actions. In this way, chapter 11 of Genesis is not just an isolated account of the Tower of Babel, but an essential component in the complex tapestry of sacred scripture. The question of what language was spoken before the confusion of tongues at Babel is a fascinating enigma that has intrigued scholars and theologians for centuries. Various theories have been proposed, but none have been definitively proven. Some scholars suggest that the original language may have been a primordial form of pure and universal communication, capable of expressing complex concepts and conveying information clearly and unambiguously. Others speculate that the pre-Babylonian language may have been a divine language given directly by God to the first human beings, allowing for direct and barrier-free communication between humanity and its creator. Still others propose that the original language was a manifestation of the perfect harmony between the human mind and the divine will, reflecting the purity and simplicity of creation before the fall. Regardless of the exact nature of this lost language, its existence suggests a state of communion and deep understanding among human beings, a linguistic bond that transcended cultural and geographic barriers. The search for the identity of this primordial language continues to intrigue those interested in the origins of linguistic diversity and the relationship between language, culture, and spirituality. Subscribe to the channel for more biblical content and don't miss any videos. I hope you enjoyed this dive into the history of the Tower of Babel as described in the Bible. Stay tuned for more fascinating videos on biblical topics. Are you enjoying the message? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this motivational word today. And leave your comment. We want to know how this message impacted your life.